Hey guys, this is an update on my rig here, what I've been doing for the last month and a half, maybe 2 months. It's been cloudy, a lot of rain. When it does clear up, you get a full moon. It's been terrible. Looks like 2020 is falling into 2021. Nothing's going right. But this is what the scope looks like right now. I've taken a lot of the cables and actually cut them to length, especially the power cables. That's why I have them. I got like a little service loop right here. Right here, I've got a little clip here to keep my cables coming down to the mount pretty much out of the way when I slew the telescope to different objects. The only thing that hits the ground is the power cable itself, and that's with the jackery. I love this little thing. It's 240 watts, and it will run close to 8 hours. And I'm talking about everything: the camera, the focuser, the mount, and what else does this sucker control? That's about it right now, as far as I know. But yeah, I love this thing. The only drawback, it takes forever to recharge. If I bring it down to like about 80%, it'll charge really quick. But man, when you get down to about 20%, man, it'll take most of the day for this thing to recharge. But oh well, right? But right now, this is what the scope looks like. Basically cleaned it up a lot. Not cables all drone all over the place. You got the finder scope, the guide camera, and let's see, what other cameras do I have right here for polar alignment. I love this thing. It's bang on, right on. So yeah, love that. And let's see, of course, the main camera, I have no issues whatsoever. It's an older one. It costs a lot of money. It was like $1,400 for this bad boy. And in front of that, I have a filter drawer, and pull it out, and that's my filters. That's an Optilon filter, and has a magnetic. Sometimes it's hard to pull out, but it stays. It doesn't come off. And this is my new add-on. It's an autofocuser from Primalucelab. I like this one a lot because the way it mounts. It doesn't use a bracket that attaches to the focuser underneath, like right here. You just take the knob off this guy here, and it mounts to the housing of the focuser, which is super clean. There's no brackets. Having a bracket on there eventually, during temperature changes and swings, it can get loose over time. This is solid, so this is not going anywhere. Nice thing about this, it's Wi-Fi as well. So if I lose connection to the computer, I can take the cell phone out and control it from there. Next thing I got was a computer, and this is a Beelink, and I got this on Amazon. I think I paid $249 for this. Has Windows 10 Home, has 4 USB 3 ports. The processor is 1.9, and it goes to 2.2 boost, which 1.9 is fine for what this thing is going to do. Has 30, let me think here, 4 gigs of memory, which is, again, that's all I need. 256 gigabytes of storage, and it has a place for another 256 on those mini USB. I think that's what they're called. But there's 2 more ports right there, and yeah, it only uses 12 volts, so I have it hooked up to my power box back here, which is this top one. And yeah, this has been working out really well. Had some issues with the mount. First one was the circuit board behind this cover. For whatever reason, after about 6 months of use, when I plugged in my handset, I had no power, and I couldn't understand why. I called, or didn't call, but emailed Skywatcher to see how much a new circuit board costs, because you can't find a schematic on this. And they said $200 plus shipping. So I said, okay. And I thought, well, fuck. I'm really good in electronics, so I took this sucker apart. And cool thing about it, from the power lead, there's a direct connection from here to pin 8 on the handset. But it goes through a fuse first. Well, I was reading good all the way past the fuse. So the fuse is okay. And when I hit the pin, I wasn't reading anything. So I started moving the pin around, and sure as shit, I was getting connections off and on. So I just took my soldering iron out and reflowed the solder, and this thing's been working great ever since. So saved myself $200. The next thing I wasn't happy with the mount was it had too much slop in right ascension. The gear and the worm were too far apart, and that should have been caught during production in quality. But it's no big deal. I wish they had caught it, but they didn't. So what I'd have to do was take these 2 screws, just loosen them, and there's 2 more down here. Loosen those, and I have a grub screw here, which is a 3mm, and I got another one underneath. But all I had to do was tighten this down and lock these guys down, and then actually rotate them out to make sure the gears didn't bind. And I got that worked out, and it's fine. Next thing I'm not really thrilled about is these handles. Why they cut them into angles is beyond me. They're a pain in the ass to use, and sometimes you need 2 hands just to tighten down. Why they could not make that round is beyond me. So I might fill the gaps with some kind of epoxy and make it round, sand it, and repaint it. Make life a little easier. In fact, it's going to look similar to this. That's what should be down here. My next issue with the mount. And you can see it's still not quite where I want it. But if you take a look, when you mount your telescope, you notice how high this end and how low this end is. So basically, it's cocked like that. If I can make it, there we go. And you spend all this time leveling the tripod and the mount and polar align, and you find out that your scope itself is kind of on an axis. Now, a lot of people say it doesn't matter since you're polar aligned with the telescope, and I'm thinking no, because this here and here represents almost a full degree. And over time, when I start taking anything over a 10-minute exposure, I get drifting, and I get it bad. So I put shims under here, and that helped out a lot. I can go over 20 minutes on an exposure, and it's kind of useless to do that, especially with this type of camera I have. But I was just curious on how things would track, how the mount would track, and it tracked it pretty good. And so I'm just wondering if anybody has this kind of mount, and does yours look the same as mine? That one end is lower than the other, so the whole OTA is cocked, downward. As far as I'm concerned, that's unacceptable. I've owned many telescopes, and the saddle, which I usually call, are dead flat, so you don't have to mess around shimming anything. But yeah, if you own one of these, and it's an EQ6 R Pro from Skywatcher, let me know if you have the same problem. That should not be there. That should be level. And so we'll see. But that's what I've been doing on these cloudy days. in weeks and months. I think I've had it out only once, and it was only for about 2 hours. Then the clouds came in again. So put all this money into it, and I can't use it because right now what you see here is close to $7 grand, and I like to use it, you know, every now and then, not once every 3 months, but that's the hobby I chose. And have a new laptop. Nice thing about this, it came with the keyboard, so that's pretty nice. And I paid just under $300 for this, and I'm happy with it. So that's all I got. I'll go ahead and shut this down because I was testing, and everything's still working, knowing full well that I probably won't be able to use it for another couple of weeks. But I'll let y'all go. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll have some pictures in the near future here. So with that, take care.